Greetings, Rigil Agateiades here, and after a long wait and an even longer grind, we finally have, fresh off the oven, the famed, shiny, and utterly impractical looking Vtuber's Gouf. Well, you decide if it's that impractical yourself. Full finger Vulcan discharge, Gouf heat sword with the Gaian attack motions, and the support type Agai just got evaporated. This extravagant looking Gouf is the reward for finishing the special missions this week. To unlock it at level 1, you need to finish 18 rated matches, which is quite a lot. For the level 2 version, you even need to deal 2.6 million damage, good luck on that. But the vase you get for doing all that is definitely worth your time, because with this exotic vase, you're getting equally exquisite weapons. Give the whip a gigantic wave, and as both enemies stopped dead in their tracks. While the heat rod isn't anything new, the down attack motion is what just brought Vtuber's Gouf to the next level. The ridiculous reach is out of the question, but because it's a down attack, there's literally no way to withstand it, not even shock absorbers. And of course, you can always just use it like a normal heat rod with a normal attack, sniping the enemy Gouf on his shield and still getting the stagger. He hides under the ramp, we just wait on the other side with our heat rod ready, swoosh once, swoosh twice, and he's down. Teammate included, but there's not much we could have done about that. Up to this point, the whip sounds extremely broken. A bit like a certain other low-cost raid type, but we're not talking about that tentacle monster today. That being said, using this whip is not as easy as just swinging it around. First of all, the reach is usually not as far as you think. Well, I'll be very afraid of it any longer, but that isn't the problem. The equally long recovery motion is... If you manage to down your opponent, a long recovery time doesn't hurt you much because they're downed anyway. But if you missed, or if the enemy evaded that, you're stuck retracting that whip for as long as it takes to wave it around, giving your enemy enough time to finish a degree in philosophy before retaliating with a down attack. Very powerful, but with corresponding consequences. And immediately, here's a bad example of doing that. Trying to keep the enemy away with that whip was a terrible idea, and we're very much stuck in that motion for the next 3 seconds before we can even thruster cancel. Very much the end of us, especially given the Vtuber style stat line. Classic Vtuber move, there's not a single trace of common sense in this suit's design. With zero range and beam defense, it doesn't matter which type of attack your opponent's throwing at you. It's guaranteed to hurt like a truck. I guess his train of thought was around the line that you don't need range defense if you're chopping at the enemy. Not exactly wrong. He also gave it a lot of melee defense and close combat program to complement that, ignoring instant staggers when holding any melee weapon. This way, you're not going to be stopped as easily when waving that heat rod around. He just didn't quite consider how you're getting it. And then there's the hard counters. There are suits out there that this suit simply can't win, one of which being Duelist's Ifrit. It has a higher melee priority, yes, this Gouf only has mid priority, and the shotgun stops you directly through the suit's close combat program. Still not as bad as missing 3 melees in a row. We say thanks to Vtuber's choice of 30 melee defense, because that's the only reason we're not dead yet. Maybe not the case if it was the general type Ifrit, which also has the same shotgun. Spots a Gouf whiffing his heat rod, our turn to punish. Also hits the enemy next to him as a bonus. This whip's area of attack is just so wide. On top of that, because it hits twice and takes time to finish, it is rather easy to catch someone at the end of their invulnerability. Just a bit more risky when we whiff ourselves. Oh, not the shotgun again! And even more about the whip. While its area of attack is wide, it actually doesn't hit immediately in front of you. Occasionally, you'll pull off some questionable moves and whipping through your teammate, or vice versa. Get staggered by a combination of machine gun and bazooka with no emergency evasion, just like any low-cost raid type. There's nothing much we can do. Wait, we're dead already. That zero range defense really doesn't fare that well. other than the whip and the heat sword that makes this Gouf an absolute menace, it's also worth talking about the ranged weapons on this Gouf. No, not the whip. As I've said, common sense does not apply on this Gouf, and that includes the finger Vulcans. What you're looking at is the same set of finger Vulcans as any normal Gouf, but firing all fingers at once. Quite literally 4 times the power, even with the Makube style zero range strength on this suit. That mad storm of bullets still do a third of a support type's health at full hit. So much so that some suggested to use reload and range attack parts on this Gouf. Personally, not a big fan of that because we have some more important custom parts to put on. Ow! So, the custom parts we're using this time. Very simple setup, walk faster and stronger. With no maneuver armor and close combat program in its place, walking faster benefits your finger Vulcans also. But even if you don't have that part because you're not as good at spending appropriately as I am, at least put those feet armor parts on at level 2. You'll be very grateful for that. Watch the Ifrit shred our teammate, but we can't do anything about that. We walk out of his line of sight quickly before Goufs hit each other on invincibility. Thankfully, he couldn't hit his down attack from the angle, and we run away by dropping down. One last whip on the Gouf from all the way below. This heat rod is just ridiculous in every possible way. There's simply not a trace of common sense in this Gouf. Not in the looks, not in the stats, and definitely not in its weapons. And the result is just as you would imagine. Absolutely cracked. While the Ifrit shotgun easily devastates you, chances are you're not going against 4 of them in one match. And against what you're going to see the most at 300, the Thunderbolt Agateiades, you just somehow have anti-stealth that reveals every single one. Makube may have made some dubious choices, but sometimes that ended up with the best results, such as digging up all the things in Odessa and this Gouf. That's it from me today. Latest.